What about George Deadman? I think everybody in the Partridge worked for George Deadman at some time or other, didn't they?
And the club, and got sacked. You know, I got sacked. I think I got sacked twice by Deadman.
Oh yeah. Even old Joe Hunt, he worked for him as well. Dennis Reaver, the docker. He wouldn't do fuck all.
Charlie Emery.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, you name it, they've been there, done that, haven't they?
Yeah.
We did have some laughs though working for Deadman.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, it's where you learned your game, didn't you?
Yeah, I stayed in the air conditioning industry, and I had Bill Beach. He taught me, you know, my stuff and that, and so I've stayed in it. So
Bill was a classic, wasn't he?
Bill, what, Plonker Deadman? George's son, George Jr., otherwise known as Plonker.
He was known as Plonker about 15 years before Del Boy Rodney Trotter, wasn't he?
I remember saying to Bill, why'd you call him Plonker? He went, because he is a fucking Plonker.
What made me just laugh about Plonker, if he was working on a site and you couldn't find him, he was either eating a Mars bar or having his shit, wasn't he?
He must have had about 10 shits a day, wasn't he?
Oh, he was unbelievable.
He'd eat something and go straight to the toilet, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He had a very efficient digestive system, didn't he? Yeah.
Talk to some of the things that happened with Deadman. You know, when we had some, there was some classic stuff with working with Deadman. There was, and I was only new at the game, and I did a Saturday morning. We were doing some work up. I can't remember. It might have been up Park Royal somewhere. And there was Plonker, myself, Bill Beach and Charlie Emery had gone up to do this thing on a set, and we got there really early. We wanted to start early and get away, and the whole place was locked up. It was a little small factory. It wasn't a big place. It was all locked up, and either Bill or Charlie had found a niche in a fence, or we could just hop over the fence, and there was like a pallet there. We just jumped over the fence. We're walking around in this factory, in this like big car park, and there was lorries all everywhere like that. And all of a sudden, Charlie Emery goes, "Guard dog!" and I fucking panicked, and I ran straight up with this fucking lorry, jumps up on it, jumps up on the cab, and I'm up on the roof of this fucking lorry, like, you know, and I'm looking around for this fucking guard dog, and there's Bill Beach and Charlie fucking crying and pissing themselves with fucking laughter because I jumped up on there. They obviously weren't a fucking guard dog. And for weeks afterwards, every time I walked in the parties, Beach would come up to me and he'd go, it was, and of course one of the other, and he never used to drink a lot in the parties, but the other classic bloke who worked for Deadman was Ray Vanner, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ray Vanner, yeah, he was a laugh, he was. And do you remember at McVitie's? We had a big job over at McVitie's. That was Park Royal and all, wasn't it?
It was Park Royal, yeah.
Yeah, and we were told, if you remember, the first day on site...
All got called in?
Yeah. There's a shop there, wasn't there? The biscuits were so cheap, and the bloke said, get all your biscuits, as many as you like, from that shop.
You could take a truckload if you wanted them?
Yeah, as long as you paid something. And I mean, that was... about 2 pence for a packet of biscuits, wasn't it? It was nothing.
And that was chocolate digestives.
Yeah. Because they said, if anyone is caught thieving, you're all off the job, the whole lot. And Deadman told us in no uncertain terms, don't fucking nick anything. But Ray Vanner had to, didn't he? And he had this harebrained scheme of nicking a box of biscuits from about 30 foot up, didn't he? I don't know how he got them, do you?
Well, remember you came walking around the corner one day and there was a big, I don't know how many pallets high, and I looked right up the top and there was a fucking packet of biscuits missing, wasn't there? Right out the side of one of these pallets.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about it, and at the time neither did you.
No.
Until he drove us home, opened up the boot of his Mini,
yeah.
There was a packet of fucking biscuits in
it. He had to do it, didn't he? But then he had the currants away, didn't he?
Yeah.
He stuffed them down the in a coat down the sleeve or something, and it was a little cube like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he had that of currants. So I said, why the fuck are you nicking that? And he said, oh,
vacuum packed.
Yeah, he didn't know that though, did he?
No.
They were super vacuum packed. And he got them home, didn't he? And he gave them the Glen, so she stuck a knife in it, cut it like that, and then gone like that. And he had a mountain of bloody carrots, didn't he?
I mean, at the time, you know, I mean, everywhere you went back in them days, we weren't on a lot of money back in them days. You had to get your buns where you could, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I remember the story where you and Charlie Emery, and you were doing a ghoster. You're doing an all-night ghoster in some shop, you know, maybe Bond Street or Regent Street, somewhere like that uptown. And I'll never forget Bill telling me the story. And there was a security guard put on all-night duty, especially just to keep an eye on you three. And this security guard decides he wants a cup of coffee or take a piss or something like that, and he walks out the front door. And directly he walked out the front door, Charlie and Bill are stuffing clothes into any bag they can get their hands on, so that just to have a thief, you know, just to have it away while this bloke was out of the room. And they look round and Mick's trying on a fucking jumper. They've only got about 20 seconds at best with this fucking geezer going out of the room. Mick's trying to gear on. Bill said, I don't give a fuck what size it was. He said, and as you tried it on, oh dear, that was a fucking classic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And then, what was the other time that, when I pinched the fluorescent light.
It was their laboratories, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I pinched this fluorescent light.
That was for me, wasn't it?
That was for you. It was for the old kitchen. Yeah. No, we was working at Sainsbury's at Blackfriars.
Yeah,
on the Sainsbury's job.
Yeah.
And anyway, and somebody always told us. Remember that bloke we worked with on the building site many years ago when we were dry lining?
Yeah.
And he said the best way to nick something, he said, you walk out straight out the front door with it like you own it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I've got this light and I'm put it on my shoulder and I'm walking out and I thought, I need a piss. So I've gone down the lift, gone on the first floor and I'm in the toilet having a piss, and I put the fluorescent light as I'm standing there having a piss, and this geezer comes in, he's pissing by the side of me. Yeah, well, I finished, picked up the light and he went, who are you? I said, what do you buy? So he said, where are you going with that light? And I said, I'm quick thinking in them days, I said, I wish fucking somebody would tell me where I'm going with it. I said, I've been on every bloody toilet on this building. I said, trying to find where this bloody light's got to go. And he said, who are you working for? I said, I'm working for Jackson's, the electricians. He said, how long have you been here? I said, about 3 weeks. He said, fucking hell. He said, I'm supposed to be running this fucking job. He said, nobody bastard tells me what new staff I've got, did he? And the funny thing was, the next day, he saw me hanging upside down under a bit of duck, putting a bit of bloody popper in a duck, never ever said a word to me.
Do you remember when we worked for Deadman and we were working at Queen Hive on those apartments?
Yeah.
There was hundreds of them, weren't there?
Yeah.
And
all little round, all very small.
Yeah. And we was on sort of like price work, weren't we, for a while? And all the duct was just straight, wasn't it? And we had one apartment right at the end of the corridor, full up with bits of straight. And Kenny went to get some, and of course they was only 1,500 mil long, weren't they?
Yeah.
About 200 square. And he's got 4 pieces of duct on his shoulder, and he's marching down, 1,000 mile an hour, Kenny, down the corridor, and there was
head down.
Yeah, head down. And there's an electrician, and he was doing something on the wall, wasn't he? And instead of sort of slowing down and going round him and then going, oh, not Kenny, no. Stay where you are. And the bloke went, what? And Kenny Poleaxed him, didn't he?
Did shit right out of him.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So talking about Plonker, you've got to tell the story of the cup final day.
Yeah, working on cup final day. How bad is that? But we was working for Deadman, weren't we? There was Ray Slater was there.
Yeah.
Me, Plonker Deadman, of course.
Beach.
Bill Beach. So we all liked to point at lunchtime, didn't we? He goes down the pub, and it gets to about 2:30. The telly was on, wasn't it? Plonker says, "Do you want another? We're going to have another pint." I said, yes, we're going to see the cup final. So we had our pint, didn't we? Do you remember? And we finished it, and just as the whistle blew for the beginning of the cup final, he said, "Come on then, let's go back."
Yeah.
What a bastard.
I thought Slater was going to fucking strangle him. Actually, I really did thought he was going to strangle him.
Yeah, we shrunk back, didn't we?
What a, it wasn't it?
How many cup
What
finals
a
have we
fucking
missed?
plonker.
Yeah. We haven't missed many cup
We haven't
finals.
missed
We
many
missed
cup
that one,
finals,
no?
that one, yeah.
Now we've tried to keep everything in categories, haven't we, Keith? And
Best we could.
yeah, as best we could. But now we're just going to give the odd stories about different people and different incidents. And there's you about Footscray Social Club that we belong to, and you was on the committee.
I was on the committee down here, yes, for a little while, and there are there's a couple of little classic tales. Two that involves Billy Hill, and you can tell one, and I'll tell the other if you like. I want to tell them about the snooker table.
Yeah, well, I remember I was down the club. I think I was playing snooker, or playing darts. I can't remember. And you come out of a committee meeting, and you come up to me and said, "Hey, you ain't going to believe this." He said, "They've just been in this meeting, and there's a problem with the cloth, wasn't there, on the snooker table? It had a tiny little rip in it like that, didn't it? Do you remember?"
Yeah.
And it come up as one of the points raised by someone in the committee that we've got a torn cloth on and we need to do something about it. And Billy Hill said, "Well, can't we just turn the cloth over?" And then he right said, "I think it's ripped on both sides, Bill."
But no, Bill, I don't know if you know, he's still alive, old Billy. He was thick as shit, wasn't he? Eh? Thick as shit. We had a big coach party, and we went to the Circus Tavern and I got a funny feeling it was a freebie because we used to do a lot of. It was sponsored by the Jolly Friar, a bit like Kentucky Fried Chicken people, and they gave us all a free trip to the Circus Tavern to see Tommy Cooper. And it was a full coach party. You know, there was a fair few of us there, two big tables. And Billy Hills was there with his missus, and I was there with Anne, and it was a bloody great night. Tommy Cooper was bloody funny. Anyway, so they had a couple of acts before Tommy Cooper, and then they came out with a supper, which again sponsored by Jolly Fry. So it was a box of chicken and chips in a box, and when you opened it up, in this box of stuff, there was a sealed sachet of like a lemon wipe. You know, to wipe your hands after you've eaten the chicken. And fucking Billy Hills opened this lemon wipes up and squeezed it on his fucking chicken. he was fucking unbelievable, Bill. Like 2 planks of fucking wood.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And then there was, remember Ray Banwell?
Well, I've just sent Ray. Ray's finally been in touch by email after 15 years. He's finally got himself up into the electronic age.
Oh, good for him, About time.
Well, it's only one line, but I mean, you can't expect too much after 15 years, can you?
No, of course not from Ray. But he was the one for working, wasn't he? Or not working, I should say.
Well, he had a bit of a checkered history with work.
Yeah, he knew how to work the system though, didn't he? He didn't like working, but he knew how to work the system, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like when he worked for the post office, and he was brought up front and centre in front of the boss, and I remember he was telling me that the boss said to him, "Do you realise that you've had 99 days off sick this year?" And I said, "What?" I said, "What did you say to him?" He went, "One short of the tongue." Because he had an ingrown toenail, and I think you had one who was off for half a day, weren't you?
I was off work. Yeah.
He was off for 3 months.
3 months. 3 months with his half a going toenail. But the other funny thing about Ray was when he was working when he was in a fireman, he was over Cotmondine. And he was with the GPO for years, and he went into the fire brigade, and he's standing in the central strip in Cotmondine. He was standing in there outside the post office, and a GPO van backed into him and actually caught him on the elbow. Now it glanced his elbow at best, and with that injury, Ray got. He got himself put on light duties for probably 2 years. Yeah. And in the end, they drummed him out the fire service on a full pension.
Yeah. I know. He knew how to work that system, didn't he?
I mean, Ray knew what he was doing. If there's anybody from the fire service watching this, we don't. We hold our hands up. We don't know.
And once he slept through the bells, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because when they get an alarm, they was asleep. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think. All the lights come on, the bells, deafening bells. All his mates, they buggered off to the fire, and he stayed asleep, didn't he? And he actually got disciplined for that, didn't he?
But of all the other funny side of it, Ray actually got commended 3 times for bravery.
Yeah,
because I tell you now, Ray, he would have been the first one. If there was a fire, Ray would have been the first one through the door.
Yeah, he did three
times for bravery. You know?
I used to pull his leg in the partridge. I used to say, "You don't know what a fire looks like. You're never there."
He did tell me once. There was quite a funny story. He said, if there's a fire in any commercial premises like a shop, he said the first ones on the scene, he said, are always the police. He said, the other one's taking the stuff out the back. All the fire damage stuck out the back. Ray when Ray left school, he worked up at the Strand in the civil service stores.
Yeah.
Up in it was a big
departmental
store. Yeah. And Ray actually worked in the wine cellar bit. I don't know if you remember the wine cellar bit up there. And they were teaching him how to, ideal job for Ray, you teach him how to taste wine and what to do with all these wines and stuff like that. And he said to us one day, he said, we're going on this mystery Beano. And we're having a coach party, he said, and nobody knows where we're going. He said, you want to come along? He said, we're leaving the civil service stores in the Strand at about 6:30 in the morning. Fuck, must be going somewhere, out of the way. So, Martin Hodgson and Martin Joyce and me and Ray, we get up about 4 o'clock in the morning, go to Samerico station, we get on the bloody trains in the underground up to the Strand, get on the bus. Nobody knows where the fuck we're going. And we're travelling, and all of a sudden we think, hang on, this looks all pretty familiar, And in them days, you could actually drink on the coach, and you could have beer stop. You could just stop and just drink on the side of the road, which of course you can't now. And so the very first stop, the driver says, we're pulling over now, and he pulls over, and do you know where we was? We was in the fucking car park at bloody D's. You remember D's down at Cripples Corner?
Yeah.
Which is about a 10-minute fucking walk from our house. We could have met the bastards here. Talk about driving you fucking insane. 4 o'clock in the morning just for that 10-minute poxy journey. So we spoke a bit about Beachy, Bill. Bill was a classic, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. He was a funny bloke. He really was. And do you remember Richard Osborne? He used to borrow a pound off a Bill every Monday, didn't he?
Every Monday night.
Yeah, but why Bill? I don't know. But perhaps no one else would give him any money. But he always paid it back though. Yeah. Every Friday. But the trouble is, the following Mondays, Bill got a pound. Got a pound.
It went on every week.
Yeah.
Every
and in the end, Bill got fed up with it, didn't he? And he said, "You fucking keep it. It's not my pound anymore.
It's in your pocket more than it's mine."
Yeah.
And we met some. I used to work down at Ranks at Cripples Corner for years, and I worked with a bloke called Johnny Jones. And this is a true story. He had a coloured mate called Rupert, and Rupert was a chef, and he worked in a I can't remember where it was. It was like a big car parts factory somewhere over Essex. Could have been Dagenham. I don't know where it was. And he worked in the kitchens of this big factory, and there would be thousands of people coming out the gates of a night, and the security people used to do spot checks. As people coming out to make sure they weren't thieving anything out of the gates. And this Rupert comes walking out, and he's actually pinched a leg of ham and stuck it down into his coat, and he's holding it under his overcoat, and he's walking out the door with it, like walking out the gates with it like that. And the security geezer's he's pointing at him, he said, "You, come over to spot check." And this Rupert, he's gone like that, he's dropped the ham on the floor, and he's gone, "Here! Who threw the ham at me?" And he's going over and going, "Here, who threw the ham at me? Did you throw the ham at me? Who threw the ham at me?" That's a true story. So the club had its characters, the same as the Partridge, didn't it? I mean, and a lot of it obviously used to drink in both places, and I suppose one of the characters down the club was Roger Smith, wasn't it?
Yeah, Roger Smith.
You knew when Roger was around?
Oh yeah, because he was a big fella, very tall, very big, but he had that booming voice, didn't he? That massive laugh about him. And do you remember the fancy dress dance down the club? Because of his size, what did he go as? The Hulk.
The Hulk.
And he painted himself green, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he got the wrong stuff, didn't he? He never got that, like theatrical makeup, he got, what was it?
Food colouring.
Because he looked the part, didn't he? He looked the part. The only trouble is when he went home trying to wash it off, it didn't come off.
2 fucking weeks he was like the old...
Let him walk around for 2 weeks covered in green.
And still with the same ripped shirt. Why don't I tell the story of the pikeys though? Now, there might be a lot of people, certainly in Australia, don't know what a pikey is. Your pikey is is the forerunner, I suppose, to your bogans, because they've been around a lot longer than bogans, but they are a unique sort of cross between a genuine gypsy and a traveller, and they're just, you know, they're a race apart, and they've got their own sort of, got their own way of talking and their own way of speaking, and generally in the sort of rag and bone trade and building trade and
scrap metal
and all of that type of stuff, and that's basically how they live their lives. And I was in Robert Gregg's at Footscray one day, and I could hear this argument. I walked round the aisle, and there was a bloke arguing. There was a pikey bloke arguing with his wife, and he's going, "I'm fucking telling you, it's fucking mashed potato." And she said, "It fucking ain't mashed potato." And he's going, and this is just shouting at the top of their voice. He's going, "It's fucking mashed potato, I'm telling you." She's going, "It ain't fucking mashed potato." And he said, "It's fucking mashed potato." And she's going, "It fucking ain't mashed potato." Anyway, I walked round the corner, and this bloke come up to me, and he's got a packet off the shelf, because they can't read or write. He's got a packet of sort of dried vegetables, a bit like the old Cadbury Smash, the potatoes that you used to get there, you know. And it's got a picture of a potato on the front of it, but it's also got other vegetables on there as well. And he said to me, "Oh, excuse me, mate." And he came and he said, "Is that fucking mashed potato?" And I said, "No, it's mixed vegetables." And she went, "I fucking told you, didn't I? Fucking told you it wasn't mashed potato, didn't I?" And because old Chrissy Whelan used to come out with a classic when he said the old pikeys used to bang on the door and go, "You got any old bike frames or old timber tubes, mate? You don't want, you know?" Yeah. And but there was a pikey banged on my door one early Sunday morning, and it's true. He banged on me. He said, "Excuse me, mate." He said, "You got any old lead or copper or old gold you don't want? You know, got any old fucking gold?" You know? Yeah. So I said to him, I said, "As it happens," I said, "I've got something around the back that you might find useful." And you remember the old Rayburn fires? They were heavy cast iron fire with a big heavy door and a glass thing in the front of them. And ideally, you should really have one of them if you're going to have central heating and inductive window. My old man bought one. We had to leave the door open because he wouldn't get any heat out of it. But anyway, that's another story. So we got rid of it and put it in the back garden. So I said to this, and I'm just standing there. I just got a towel around me, no shoes or something, and I said, "You can have that." So he's grabbed on it and he's starting to drag it out down the back garden, down the side garden, getting out to the front. And I closed the back door and I came around the front as he's coming out my back gate. He's dragging it. He said to me, "Cool, fuck, that's heavy, boy, isn't it?" I said, "That is heavy." He said, he dragged it with him. We said, "Fuck." He said, "I'll tell you what, boy." He said, "That is fucking heavy." Now he didn't have the he didn't want to ask me to give him a hand with it. He just kept saying, he said, "Fuck, I'll tell you what, boy." He said, "That's one of the fucking heaviest fireplaces I've ever had." And I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll put it out the back. It is fucking heavy." And he's dragging it down, but he's going, "Fuck." And as he's getting further away, he's going, "Fucking heavy, mate." I said, "It is heavy. It is heavy." Anyway, I shut the front door, and I tell you, I come out 5 minutes later, he got it on the fucking back of his bloody lorry.
Yeah, of course he did. Oh, yes, yeah. They're not
would have been worth a few bob. No.
Yeah.
But I think the other funny one was Elton Rickwood, and he had a family of pikeys living over the back from him.
Oh yeah, around Windsor Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were having he went out there one day and he could smell the old smell of cooking, like, you know. And he looked out over there and they were having a fucking barbecue in the back garden. And this shows what these people are like, you know. And he said, "Oh, Chaffy over there," he said, "stick another tyre on that Barbican, would you?" Fucking tyre!
Imagine the stink.
I don't give a fuck, did I?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, and I suppose lastly, the other pikey one was me and Terry Hodson. We come out to the club one night, and used to be just around the corner was the little takeaway at Suffolk Road.
Yeah.
And so me and Terry go in there to get a takeaway, Chinese takeaway on the way home. And we're sitting there waiting. As we went in there was 4 pikey birds in there, and they were waiting for their meals as well. So we'd ordered our stuff. We're sitting there, and a couple of these girls' meals came up, and the first thing they didn't want to wait. You know, the first thing they ripped open the containers, and one of them looked at it, and she said, "What's that you got there, girl?" And she said, "It's spare rib." She said, "That fucking don't look spare rib to me." She said, "Looks like fucking outstation leg." Me and Terry, we spoke about that for years, and every time we used to see an Alsatian or whatever, we just fucking laugh so much over that. Tell everyone the time when we're watching. Well, separately we're watching the news and the football scores. About the crazed Millwall fan. You got to tell.
It came on the news, didn't it? That I think it was a Fulham Millwall. And all of a sudden, apparently a crazed Millwall fan jumped over the wall, went over and hit the fullback, didn't he?
Yeah.
A Fulham fullback, and I don't know if he knocked him down. Knocked him down. So, because it's all over the news, wasn't it? It was big news, obviously, rightly so. So we was in the club, weren't we? And we were talking about it and saying, because that Dickie Hooker, who's a fanatical Millwall supporter, I don't know why, but he is, isn't he? And we're talking about it in the club, saying, but you know, wouldn't it be funny if it's Dickie? And then just as we was talking about it, Ray Slater walked in, didn't he? He said, "Yeah, have you heard about Dickie?" And he got banned for life for that, didn't he?
Ran on the field and snotted the bloody...
I said, "What'd you do that for?" Dick, he said, that bloke was giving it to the crowd all through the match, and he said, "I just snapped it." He said, "I went over and go, bang." He said, "He was asking for it." And when you got hit by Dickie, you stayed it.
That's right, yeah. Oh, dear. How about the time when me and Chrissy had been out on a piss, me and Chrissy Whelan, we've been over to King and Queen at Nottingham, and we should never have got in. He had a little van, and we got in this, and he's driving pissed, and we came down a hill towards Chislehurst Road there, up the other side, and came down the hill, round a bend, and went up the other side. Chrissy's coming, hammering down there. He's hit the curb, and I could see what's coming, so I've sort of braced myself and rolled myself out, and he's ploughed straight to the back of the car, sitting just on the side just outside someone's house. And Chrissy then decides he wants to drive away, but all the front wheels all mangled, and he couldn't drive away. So the bloke whose car it was heard the bang, and he's come out, and Chrissy's outside looking at the damage and that. And he said to Chrissy, Chrissy said to him, he said, "What do you mean I'm fucking pulling out in front of me?" The bloke said, "Fucking leave it out." He said, "I was in the kitchen having a cup of tea." And as he said that, a cop's car came down the road. And Chrissy's then frantically eating privet leaves to try and get the smell of booze out of his breath. So the coppers pull up, he grabbed hold of Chrissy and started taking it. How they never... I don't think they had breathalyser units.
I don't think they did, no.
Didn't have random breathalyzers. They could have took him away, but they're talking to him, asked him to get his details off him. And as they're talking to him, this couple of Herberts have come walking down the road who know Chris. They're going, "Oh, Chris, hey, how are you, mate?" You know. And this copper suspected that Chris had been giving him a false name and address. And he said to this geezer, the copper said, "Do you know this bloke here?" And this bloke said, "Yeah." He said, "Of course I do." So he said, "What's his name?" And somebody said, "Chris, do you want me to tell him your real name or a fucking false one?" How Chris got away with it, I don't know. We walked away from it.
Yeah, that's very lucky.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But we do have one. We got one final story though. You've got to tell with a bit about Loveridge. Yeah. No, we've mentioned him before.
Yeah, Joe Loveridge and Jimmy Lucy.
But just before you do though, I mean, this Joe Loveridge was a character. I mean, this geezer was in hospital, had a heart attack.
Yeah.
In Shooter's Hill.
Yeah.
And which was it was 3 bus rides away from the Partridge, wasn't it? And one Sunday morning, in his pyjamas, he walks in his pyjamas and slippers. He walks in the Partridge. He's come out of the hospital, jumped on 3 buses, and come in the Partridge for a pint and got a back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, tell the.
When he commissioned Jimmy Lewis to build him a brick fireplace, an
master bricklayer,
ornamental fireplace, and Jimmy Lucy started it, didn't he? And when the bricklayer cleans the mortar off the bricks, so they normally either throw it down onto the spot board or they just throw it over their shoulder. Well, Jimmy Lucy's, he's building his fireplace in Joe's front room, isn't he? And he's cleaning off the mortar and throwing it over his shoulder. All the shit's going all over his settee and that, wasn't it? Anyway, old Joe, he pops his head round the door and says, this is the way he used to talk, I'm just going to go down a Partridge for a couple of beers, Jimmy. Okay, I'll be all right here. So he said, I remember him telling me, he said, I bought me beer, he said, I picked it up, said thank you. He said, I turned around and there's Jimmy Lucy standing next to me. So he said, I'm paying him to build me a fucking fireplace and he's pissing it out of me Partridge. So anyway, they done the session, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they both goes back. Jim goes in the front room to carry on working, and Joe says, I'm just going to pop upstairs, I'm going to have a lay down. So he goes up, lays down, falls asleep. When he wakes up, Jimmy Lucy's lying next to him, isn't he? Just fucking dirty boots all on him. Oh dear. You got to worry. Yeah. So we're about wrapped up, aren't we? Yeah, for this one, I think we've about done now.
Yeah, we've had a good laugh. We've had a good laugh thinking it all up, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
bouncing back off of one another. And we may be back.
Yeah, we may be back.
Yeah. If we
we've got a few ideas in the pot, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
If anybody out there that we mentioned, hopefully this has brought back some memories of the old Partridge pub.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This Blackmans Bay Studios production.
Yes. And anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, well, we hope you get a bit of entertainment out of it.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Anyway, but thanks for watching.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
And we might be back.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Come on over to my place. Hey girl, we're having a party. We'll be swinging and dancing and singing. Baby, come on over tonight. Now you don't need the address to find